Alright folks, welcome back to the Don's channel. I am the Don Father and I'm about to do a reaction to a military video. This one's Wanna Fight America? 5 reasons the US military will make you dead. The title's a bit crazy, but anyway, the link to the original video will be in the description section below. So will our Patreon account if you'd like a personalised video request and shout out. Please check that out, that would be fantastic. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share and put the bell on. And if you've got nothing to comment, just comment hashtag no more talking, let's go, which is our channel's catchphrase, or hashtag Veterans Battle Still Rages, which is our channel fundraiser that you can find in the description section below. Also, if you want to buy some of the merch that's raising money for that, so please check that out. Anyway, no more talking, let's go.
Want to fight America? 5 reasons the US military will make you dead. The United States is the most formidable military power the world has ever seen. Arguably, since the end of the Cold War, America has enjoyed a level of dominance unparalleled in history. Neither Rome nor the British Empire enjoyed such a level of superiority over rival powers. While the American military is not the largest on Earth, it is by far the best trained and best equipped force on the planet, putting rivals like Russia and China to shame. But it took generations to develop America's military into the world-beating force it is today. And it wasn't until the end of the Civil War that the US fielded armies that could challenge European militaries on the battlefield. From then onwards, it took 2 world wars before the US military finally established itself as the most dominant force on Earth. Here are 5 of all-time deadliest innovations in America's arsenal. Number 1. The Gatling gun.
You see it mounted on the A-10 Thunderbolt Warhawk.
First fielded during the American Civil War, which to this day is the deadliest war in US history with over 600,000 military dead, the Gatling gun was one of the first rapid-fire weapons in history. Consisting of multiple barrels rotating around a central axis, the weapon, invented by Richard Gatling, solved the problem of providing sustained fires for the first time in the gunpowder age. Initially, the US Army, due to the service's conservative nature, was reluctant to adopt Gatling's invention. After Gatling had improved on his initial 6-barrel design that fired 350 rounds per minute, the Army did eventually adopt the new weapon. It was first used in 1864 at the Battle of Petersburg in Virginia. After the end of the Civil War, the Army used a 10-barrel Gatling gun that could fire 400 rounds per minute during various conflicts with the Native American population in what are now the Western states.
Wow.
The Maxim machine gun eventually replaced the Gatling gun, but the crude hand-driven weapon heralded what was to come. During the brutal trench warfare of World War I, untold thousands fell to machine gun fire.
Oh, beautiful.
Number 2. The atomic bomb.
Whoa.
The United States developed the atomic bomb during the height of the Second World War under a program called the Manhattan Project. The project kicked off in 1939 when the Advisory Committee on Uranium told President Franklin Roosevelt that the element would provide a possible source of bombs with a destructiveness vastly greater than anything now known. Work on the bomb went into overdrive after the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, when the United States formally entered World War II against Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. Much of the urgency was driven by the belief that the Nazis were working on their own version of the bomb. The project eventually succeeded and yielded the 2 weapon designs that ultimately brought the Second World War to an end. On August 6, 1945, a lone B-29 bomber called Enola Gay, commanded by Colonel Paul Tibbets, destroyed the city of Hiroshima with a single 15-kiloton nuclear weapon called Little Boy. A few days later, a 21-kiloton yield weapon called Fat Man destroyed Nagasaki on August 9, 1945. Seeing the writing on the wall, the Emperor of Japan ordered an unconditional surrender. The world would never be the same with the dawn of the atomic era.
Well, of course, that won the war, but it's also one of those ones moral questions get asked. I can't see it ever being used again, and if an atomic bomb, a nuclear bomb, or anything of that sort of magnitude of mass destruction was to ever be used once, the chances are it would get used again and again and again, and there would be no more humanity left. But at that time that it was used, nobody had ever seen anything like it. Nobody else had anything really like it to retaliate, so thus ending the war basically on the Pacific front. That was the end of that. Who the hell's going to stand up to that? And of course, for anybody that knows anything about the sort of nuclear bomb, you want to get hit in the blast, because if you're not hitting the blast and then you're out so many kilometres from that, you're going to suffer the serious fate of radiation, which burns you like from the inside out, and you're like, it is horrific. It is an horrific way to die. So if you're ever going to be hitting a nuke, hopefully we'll never see anything used like that again in anger, but if it was, you'd nearly be blessed to be hit in the blast. Put an end to it very, very quickly instead of the agonising way to die through radiation.
Number 3. Precision-guided weapons.
Wow.
Since the 1970s, one of America's decisive advantages in war has been the ability to hit targets precisely. During most of history, war has basically been about throwing a huge volume of fire at a target with a small chance of actually hitting anything. The introduction of precision-guided weapons changed all that. For example, when the 8th Air Force launched a massive air raid to knock out German ball-bearing plants in 1943, it launched around 400 B-17 bombers to hit the targets. Most of the bombs, dropped at appalling cost and meant an aircraft, didn't even come close to hitting their targets. The pattern has repeated itself over and over, and entire squadrons would be launched to hit a single target. More often than not, they wouldn't hit a thing. That all changed towards the end of the Vietnam War. In 1972, laser-guided bombs allowed U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy jets to hit targets precisely. Instead of dozens of jets trying to strike a single target in vain, one jet could hit multiple targets during a sortie.
Just want to stop it here. It goes along with the old saying, if you've got a sniper in the battlefield, there is nothing more deadly than one well-aimed shot. Well, when it comes to the Air Force's equivalent of this, this is what you're seeing here. Look how many bombs they dropped, most of them missing. The carnage wasn't as devastating on what they had intended it to be, and on the location and what they were trying to ground and end, it wasn't successful on that front. But with the introduction of this, one well-aimed shot could be more deadly than 1,000 badly aimed ones.
While in 1972, there were only a handful of precision-guided weapons available, in 2015, almost all weapons dropped from American warplanes are precision-guided. Precision-guided weapons have given U.S. forces the edge for the past 40 years, but it's an advantage that is starting to slip as other nations develop their own equivalent weapons. Number 4. Stealth.
Whoa, this is where they really lead the way. I've seen the
With
new
the
one
development of ever more
that we know
capable
of.
Soviet surface-to-air weapons during the 1960s and 1970s, the United States Air Force had to come up with a solution to defeat the ever-increasing threat. The answer was stealth technology, which would reduce an aircraft's radar cross-section and infrared signature. Ironically, it was a Soviet scientist by the name of Pyotr Ufimtsev who first discovered the equations to develop a low-radar cross-section aircraft. Ufimtsev's work eventually came to the attention of Lockheed engineer Dennis Overholzer, who then developed the configuration for the first stealth aircraft, which he called the Hopeless Diamond. The Hopeless Diamond eventually evolved into the Lockheed F-117, the world's first operational stealth aircraft in 1981. From that initial starting point,
wow,
American stealth aircraft development took off in new directions. The B-2, F-22, F-35, and pretty much every other American stealth aircraft originates from those early efforts to defeat the Soviet air defense system. The net result today is the nearly unstoppable juggernaut that is the U.S. Air Force.
Well, the ones that you're seeing more images of this last few months, I'd imagine have been around for quite a bit of time. But of course, in order to keep the lead over any potential power swing, you're not going to release information and details on the machinery, the aircrafts, the weaponry, all that kind of stuff. You're not going to release any official documents on that. So the chances are when you're seeing the stuff coming out, it's been out for a very long time, it's just not been public. And that's just in order to keep yourself more advanced and ahead of the rivals and not give them anything to better themselves, or even, in the worst case scenario, leapfrog you. So I'd imagine if anything's being released to the public over the last 6 months to a year, the chances are there's possibly an upgraded version, an even better version again, because they want to keep their, it's like poker, keep your hands close to your heart, don't let anybody know what your hand is, basically.
Number 5. Drones.
Amazing.
When Abe Karem first developed the NAT, which eventually evolved in the General Atomics MQ-1 Predator, he probably could not have imagined his invention would herald a revolution in the ways wars are fought. Instead of risking lives over the battlefield, American forces can fight remotely with these new systems. While initially considered a passing fad, the past 15 years have shown that unmanned aircraft are here to stay, and war will never be the same. The MQ-1 Predator, which was first introduced over the Balkans in 1990s, is a crude aircraft. Its follow-on, the MQ-9C Reaper, is a little more sophisticated, but it's the start of something that will change warfare forever. Aircraft like the carrier-based Northrop Grumman X-47B are starting to show the true potentials of such machines. Indeed, aircraft without pilots might be the dominant weapon during the remaining decades of this century. As recently as yesterday, Navy Secretary Ray Mabus told an audience that the U.S. Navy will never buy another manned strike fighter again after the F-35C. And if Mabus's vision comes to fruition, unmanned aircraft will give the U.S. unmatched capabilities well into the future.
Well, just pause it there quickly. I know I'm pausing it again, but look, apart from the cost, if one of these was shut down, apart from the cost, the financial cost of building one of them and deploying it overseas or wherever it may be going to reap havoc, it's the human cost. There's zero human cost in one of them going and getting shot down. Zero human cost. Human life is not being lost if an unmanned vehicle like that there, aviation vehicle like that there, is shot down. So that in itself is a positive, in my opinion. And you know what? Look at them. They're incredible. Their capabilities are probably even better again. One thing I will say is, if one of these was grounded, is there a self-destruct thing on it? Because given the technology that is on these things, if one of them was shot down, for example, and the enemy were able to go there and go through the debris and it wasn't completely destroyed, is there some sort of self-destruct thing? Because I know a lot of military stuff that if you're grounded, the procedure would be to completely destroy anything that was left. You can't take it with you, but you're not going to let any information or details or any technology be given away to the enemy. So you completely destroy that vehicle or whatever it is that's going to be left behind, and not allowing the enemy anything that they could use to their advantage. So has that actually, because it's unmanned, got anything in it that could self-destruct whatever's left? That's a question I put to anybody who understands a little bit about these UAV drones. Wow. Well, that's the end of the video, and it was really enjoyable. A lot of information there, and look, that's just 5 reasons. There's a long list of reasons. Now, the one that you're not going to hear too much about is the stuff that we're obviously having to learn, and I'm not too sure who would be leading the way. I hope that it's the West. I hope America is ahead of the game in this area. Cyber, electronic warfare and cyber warfare. Obviously, the race for space has went up a notch with the militarisation of space. Why do we need it, people say? Well, if they've got it, we need it. That is as simple as that there. You cannot take for granted what some nutter on the other side of the planet's motives and agenda may be. So the best way to counter them is to have what they have, but have better than what they have. And I think we've seen that with the advanced militarisation in space. Obviously, satellite capabilities as well that the Americans now have is impressive. Civilians like Elon Musk have put so much up in space as well, so I'd imagine that if you need to, you could use what he has been able to achieve up there as well. I think that was one of the moves made by the White House, was to allow billionaires to sort of redevelop NASA in Texas again and improve the whole area, get private contractors in, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, anybody out there who's wanting to get to space in a civilian way, actually improve the whole thing as well. So you've got that capability from there as well, and I'd imagine there's something contractually in place there. If they needed them, they could call on anything that they have used as part of their agreement. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But anyway, loads of other factors, not just the 5, possibly a lot more than that is why you don't want to mess there. But anyway, thanks very much for watching. I thought I'd share that with everyone because I've been doing quite a lot of military stuff, as everybody knows. But as I said, this t-shirt, this is a fundraiser. Please check it out in the description section below, see what it's all about. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share, and put the bell on. And if you'd like a personalised video request and shout out, please check out our Patreon account in the description section below, where you'll also find the original video as previously mentioned at the start of the video, or simply join the channel as a member and get your requests through that way. Thanks very much for watching. I am the Dawn Father, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.